There's more to life than just looking fabulous and absolutely perfect in any perceivable way.
Christ. Okay, woo, that was a movie. That was an interesting movie. It is a very creative movie. Let's start with the most positive thing I can say about this movie. It's fucking creative. It is also funny, but that is more of an also because it isn't always reliably funny. Well, at least not 100% of the time. I would say like 85% of the jokes fucking land in Zoolander. They really fucking land. So, Zoolander stars Ben Stiller as the titular Derek Zoolander, who's a model, probably in his late 20s, I would assume. I didn't necessarily pay attention to that point, but the point is that he's an established model, but it's pretty probable that sooner or later he's going to have to stop being a model. But as an established model, he's used to getting his way, and then one day he doesn't win an award for being a model. Rather, his rival Hansel wins the award. And the background of the main storyline, or rather the main protagonist's storyline, of not getting the award and then feeling kind of without any purpose in life, we have the storyline of some mysterious shadowy figures trying to assassinate the leader of Malaysia. Shit, was it Malaysia? Micronesia? I don't know. A country whose name is being butchered more than once in this movie. They are trying to assassinate him because he is trying to establish some well thought out labor laws for his country, which means that he's also going to establish living wages and all that stuff, which in turn would mean that the workers in this country can't be abused as much anymore, and they can't be used for cheap labor, which in turn means that everything is going to get more expensive, specifically fast fashion. And since this movie is about models and about fashion, you kind of get the idea of, yeah, that's not what some shadowy fashion industry giants might want. So now they want to assassinate this new leader, and how are they going to do it? The way that they always disposed of world leaders who are trying to pay the people who, create clothing to wear for a cheaper price. They're trying to hold a second. Let me just sort my thoughts out. I'm not sure where their sentence was going. They are trying to do what they always do, which is assassinate world leaders who are too progressive, who are trying to give the workers too many rights, specifically the workers in the fashion industry. Or in the clothing industry, I should say. It's not the fashion industry, really. The fashion industry profits off the clothing industry and of their abusive tendencies. And how do they do that? How do they get rid of these world leaders? Well, they program supermodels into sleeper agents. And then, once a certain word has been uttered, the sleeper agents are awoken. And then they assassinate them. The leaders, they don't assassinate themselves. That wouldn't make any sense. But that's kind of the gist of it. And, for fuck's sake, sorry. And Ben Stiller is one of those people. Ben Stiller is one of these supermodels that is now being targeted to, he's not the target, but they're trying to have him become one such sleeper agent, and they actually kind of succeed. The only question is, can Ben Stiller's quote-unquote friends figure out a way of stopping him before it's too late and before he assassinates the world leader, or rather a world leader, specifically the president of Malaysia. The movie is very 2000s, and like in a variety of ways. You see people browsing, and the internet search engines look really fucking weird. Everything is a bit more pixelated. You have Ben Stiller's teeny tiny fucking cell phone, which is like so tiny that you can't help but think, oh yeah, 2000s. This is 2000s. Because it wouldn't make sense that this takes place in the 2010s, then they would have smartphones. It doesn't make sense that it would take place in the 90s, because then the cell phones would still be a lot fucking bigger and more brick-like. Nope, this is the 2000s, where we try to make cell phones as small as possible, which is a give and take type of situation. I also really like the idea that this whole movie is about supermodels, about male supermodels, as opposed to female supermodels, because This, specifically, since the movie was made in the 2000s, opens up one ginormous advantage that a movie such as this could have over a movie in which the female supermodels were the focal point. The advantage is that they don't steer into softcore porn territory, which they definitely 100% would have done if it had been a female-led story. Because super action girl quite often translates to, oh, she is barely wearing anything but a fucking bikini. And weirdly enough, the camera kind of zooms around her ass a lot. Which begs the question, at least to me, why the fuck are you people so goddamn horny all the time? Listen, I get horny every now and again. Who doesn't? But here's the big fucking difference. I don't fucking wank off while watching an actual movie with an actual storyline. No, I go to fucking Pornhub or God knows what websites, and I just kind of wank it, get back to the movie, watch the movie, because I'm here to watch the fucking movie. Not some sort of porn. Stop objectifying women like that in movies, unless you do it in such a way that you can have an exact objectification of the male characters to balance that shit out, because then it kinda is bearable. Because then you, like, mind you, the objectification of the male character needs to be from a either female point of view or from a gay point of view for it to actually work. Just having some dude being muscle bound isn't cutting it. Because that's not translating an equal sort of objectification. Even though this movie is about objectification 100%, because it's about supermodels. And Ben Stiller's character is immensely funny because he's just like, I mean, the thing about both Ben Stiller and his rival Hansel, played by Owen Wilson, or as I like to call him, Owen Wilson, is that both of these dudes, like, they're not bad looking or anything, but neither Ben Stiller nor I was about to call him Edward Norton, what the fuck? Owen Wilson are, like, overly good looking. Like, they are not supermodels. They look good, but it doesn't really make sense that they're supermodels. But anyway, the characters that they play are immensely funny because of how oblivious, but at the same time fucking arrogant they actually are, because of how little they know about the real world. And you can laugh about that. Something that I'm super happy that this movie also didn't do is just kind of go, oh, you know, it's so fucking funny because they're acting kind of like women. Isn't that funny? Because there's obviously another option that the director could have taken to just be like, yeah, men doing women's stuff is funny, like taking care of themselves and thinking about their outer appearance a lot. Like, that is a joke. It's not too funny unless you grew up in the 50s or something. What is funny is someone being so fucking dumb, so fucking so immensely removed from reality that they just can't grasp certain ideas. And that, for example, they think that a model of a building is the actual building itself that, you know, they wanted to use as a school. What is this? A school for ants? It's just like... This scene would have been a lot less funny if for example, there had been like a god character, like some sort of character that really doesn't understand reality because they never were in reality, but as someone who, in theory at least, experienced reality, but just had to come to grips with what exactly this reality entails outside from, you know, their little niche. That is really fucking funny. Oh, another scene that had me fucking hollering was the absolutely idiotic but idiotically beautiful gas station scene. Oh yeah, we're gonna start with a water fight, and then it just kind of escalates into a gasoline fight. Like, what the fuck, dude? That's ridiculous. I fucking love it. Most of these characters are ridiculous. And then there's the David Bowie cameo, which I don't have to say anything about that. It's a fucking David Bowie cameo. What the hell do you want? Yeah, no, I think that's everything. Do I recommend this movie? Yeah, fuck yeah. Go watch it. If you haven't seen Zoolander yet, which would be kind of odd if you haven't seen the movie yet but you're watching this review, but you know. It's really funny. Hasn't aged as badly as I expected it to, but there are one or two jokes that kind of don't really work in my opinion. Like the sex scene, for example, was not necessary. And I get it. Both Hansel and Derek Zoolander are like models. They are admired by so many people, and obviously there's going to be a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of people who find them immensely attractive and who want to shag them. But it doesn't really have a point in the movie. Let's just say it like that. Not even remotely, because up until that point, sex was more of an implication. It kind of just came with the idea of supermodels doing anything because they're supermodels. But it wasn't really part of the movie or of the character of Derek Zoolander. He has an identity crisis. Him having sex doesn't really fit into that. And I'm also not sure if the idea was that the female character's character development was supposed to be solved by her having sex. So it's really fucking weird to me as to what exactly they were going for with the scene. I guess an implication of that scene was definitely, ooh, look at Derek Zoolander, he's having like really freaky sex. Which, I mean, yeah, sure, it's kind of funny, but like not too funny. Unless you're going really over the top with it, which they didn't. They still played it fucking safe. But that's actually the most negative I can get about this movie. Like, that's the most negative opinion I have about this movie. Everything else is pretty good, pretty damn good movie. Aged relatively reasonably well. Not like wine, but definitely not like milk either. I really enjoyed the movie. Check it out if you can, and